Now today is the moment you have all been waiting for me to get the package recreation press in. As over the last few weeks, I have been working on this mega facility. Some of the things that I have worked on thus far is a button system workshop where you can select whatever you want and things will get processed from an input and an output location. And it does it in mass quantities. Then after setting that up last episode, I did manage to make the mega storage, a super storage system that filters and utilizes ideas and mechanics from all of us creators here on the Just Create SMP. This project was incredibly fun to do. Today, I think it's time that I make something that is, well, going to help others on the server. And I have been working on a big project sort of behind the scenes, and I've been waiting for every single rare package to be developed. And all of that was courtesy of this machine right here, a very temporary machine in which I do have a schematic for, by the way, over on the Discord, which allowed me to filter out very specific packages, rare packages. If we take a look in here, we can see I now have every single rare package variant. And to this, you may have wondered, well, what exactly can you even do with rare packages? Why would you want them in the first place? And to that, I will just say, decoration. You can put them on depots. You can put them on your trains. You can give them as gifts to people. And you can even put them on armor stands and make them massive. So my idea for today is I want to make a way to profit from this, but also provide a service to everyone. So I essentially want them to be able to walk into this printing press area, and I want them to be able to pay a certain amount to gain access to being able to do whatever they want in here. So we've got to come up with a way to accept a certain amount of diamonds that are going to allow them to enter and then allow a door to potentially open once that happens. This is going to be a really fun part of today, but we also have to get the printing press in, and we also have to produce the die that allows this entire press to function in the first place. And so I hope you're strapped in, because today is going to be another epic episode. One of the first things I'm going to need to do in order for this printing press to be functional in the first place is I'm going to need a way to generate the die that all of these printing presses are going to need and utilize. A good example of how this is going to function, you can see here, 10 millibuckets of black dye is used to take a particular package and then convert any package into that package state. And I have a pretty decent setup for this, which basically demonstrates this whole thing. We have a special package, a rare package that is in the filter, and then if I take a package and place it on the depot, it will then convert this package in to that special variant. But like I was mentioning, this process is not free, as unlike that particular setup said, it doesn't actually use 10 millibuckets. Instead, it actually uses 100 millibuckets. So each time someone remakes a package, it is going to take 1/10 of a bucket in order to do so. Now, to make black dye, we just simply need black dye, and then we also need water, and we mix these things together. But to get black dye, we technically already have it automated because we just need to crush charcoal, and in doing so we get black dye and also gray dye as a byproduct, which we are currently voiding in the mall. So to recap the entire process from beginning to end, here is our tree farm. Tree farm then sends logs back into the mall, and then the mall sends saplings back to be refilled to keep this going nonstop. Wood then gets transferred into this item vault, which contains all of our different logs, specifically spruce logs. Back here, anything that is not the spruce logs and or saplings, well, they get transferred up top, and they go up here into my main storage. Yes, well, what used to be my main storage, which has now been 100% repurposed to mall storage. As you can see, it does hold diamonds from mall purchases and also all of the different log variants. Once these start to overfill, I do have some that will actually send back to our full mega storage, which will then start to void. Within the mall, we are producing charcoal by sending logs to be blasted, and then down here we're making black dye by sending charcoal to be crushed. So this means that the mall is constantly supplied with a non-stop flow of black dye that we could technically take by connecting up to the stock link and sending it all the way to our mega printing facility. Something I do want to mention, I am technically using black dye already, because up here inside of our prismarine farm, I am sending black dye right here with this factory gauge keeping this hopper nonstop so that way this depot has it, so that way we can make dark prismarine. But at the moment, this farm is basically full. And what I technically should be doing is taking our prismarine shards, and once this barrel fills up, I should be voiding off of this barrel. You know what? I should definitely fix this. So I've done a threshold switch onto here, which is looking at a smart chute temporarily. I have it set to its inverted status, so it's sending a redstone signal. But now that I have the lava in, I can invert this. And so essentially it's going to drop stacks, or at least it should drop stacks, down into this cauldron. Yeah, so long as the cauldron is technically lower. Yes, which is now working, as you can see. Sorry for that tangent, but yes, this whole farm right here, I essentially later on want to do something with this prismarine crystal. Spoilers, glowstone down the road. Now, all of that, essentially, we are getting to produce black dye, which means we got to get the black dye over into this area right here. And I think this will be a pretty good spot to build out the dye producing area. Now, in all reality, this is a fairly simple operation. It's just going to be a mixer that is mixing liquids inside of a basin. I think I want to take some inspiration from Kev, and he's been building buildings around these little setups. Things that you can look at and go, yeah, that's a mixer. I don't think this is going to be the easiest task. I do have a water wheel in here to hopefully get some rotation that is going to go through this mechanical bearing. But what I want is essentially for this to look like an actual mixer. And I think a good reference for this would be something like from Immersive Engineering. It has a mixer, and the mixer does have a multi-block structure, and when it's fully assembled, it has an animated structure, which is so cool looking. So I essentially want to simulate that in some capacity here. For the mixer section, we can do something like this, a shaft that has 2 brackets on the sides, giving us a connection point. I would say to iron bars, but it doesn't look like they actually connect to that. But something like this might do. I'm deciding to use these dark oak shelves. Oh, it's definitely coming together. I'm gonna glue just this small section together and this together right here. And that will create a spinning contraption for us as soon as we activate this. So we just need to right click, and that is now technically spinning in here. I would like to be able to see what is going on in here, so I'm thinking adding glass panels into all 4 corners on the side would look pretty good. But overall, we do want this enclosed, and I want this to utilize these metal girders. So we're going to set it like this, and this is going to make it sort of look rounded like a vault. That looks so cool. And I think once we do get some of that black dye fluid, we can actually fill it up inside here and also mix it with some water. I love stuff like this in Create. Now I think would be a good time to get the mixer set up. So I've extended this girder out into a basin, and I now have the mixer up here, which we're gonna have to figure out how to get power to and enclose it and make it look all hidden. But the goal right now is how do I get packages to the mixer? And I think the best way to send that would not to be connecting the packager directly to the basin, because that causes some problems, but instead to connect to a hopper. And I have found that this is the best solution, typically when trying to send individual items into basins. The big reason not to put a packager directly onto the basin is because the packager needs to be able to see the inventory that it is sending ingredients into. And well, it can't do that with the basin, so it'll end up overfilling the basin with package requests when it shouldn't. And this is primarily a function of the factory gauges. Now, speaking of frog ports and factory gauges, this is also a good time, I think, to get our chain conveyor hooked up. And so I've carried our chain conveyor, which by the way is connected throughout our entire area. And this chain conveyor will technically pull in from the mall. And I just got to tap into it. So now I should be able to click on the chain conveyor, get myself a frog in, and then we're going to name this maybe B underscore dye fluid. And I'm going to leave that be the correct name, so black dye fluid. Then we need to take our factory gauge all the way back to the mall. Then I just need to tell the factory gauge where to look for these items, and then place it back onto the packager here. I'll then drag the black dye in, and then we are going to select the destination. The first one on the top should be the same name as the frog that we have set down below. And then I set it to 1 stack, which is going to check, does the hopper have 1 stack? If not, then send a request. And that package is then going to be pulled out of the mall with the correct address, which should be B dye fluid, which is then going to make its way all the way over here. And then this frog is going to pick it up. As you can see, there's the package flying its way all the way over here to be received. And then this is going to slowly send the dye into the basin, in which this will eventually restock itself. Now we just got to give everything power. So I'm going to power this up here and here. And with that put in, the mixer is now going, and this now has water and also now is holding black dye fluid. And then just to make sure, we can specify specifically, hey, only make black dye fluid. Now we get to have a little bit of fun with actually decorating this entire thing. And for the most part, on the sides, I want this to kind of go up like this, which almost kind of gives off this like instrument cluster panel, but I want a couple of these sections to be broken up so that way I can change them out. Go ahead and change them out to full blocks, and yes, right here I'm actually going to use one of these levers. Well, breaker switch, which is actually kind of cool. The fact that it like does half signal and then full signal and full pull down. On the bottom, I'm going to trim this up a little bit. There's going to be a little bit of water that spills out, but that looks nice. And there we go. I think this is a completed dye mixer that I tried my best to be able to make not look like a Create dye mixer. I know that sounds really weird, but we can actually place dye fluid in here, and that should flow through here, not causing any problems whatsoever. And you can still see it turning inside. Oh, that is so nice. But now I'm gonna need some sort of tank to store all this stuff in. And with this, I also have an idea. Now, this is going to be very, very bright in this area because tanks as of right now are just orange. This is all we really have. But we can decorate the outside to help make it not look so orange. Something else to note, I do want this to be at least 2 blocks off the ground, and we'll talk about the reason why in a minute. I think this size is pretty good. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 blocks tall, producing about 500 buckets worth of this stuff. Now, to get the fluids out of our mixer here, we are going to need to use a smart fluid pipe. This is to make sure we don't accidentally pull water out of the cauldron. We only want to pull out black dye. So if we pull a black dye bucket out, we can actually place that directly in this filter. And now the only thing that'll be allowed into this pipe network is going to be this black dye fluid. Now I do want to spout some pseudo realism here. So I want the tank here to be filled from the top and the bottom to be, well, the output. So I think a pretty good place to put the pump is actually going to be right here, making sure that it pulls out this direction, because we can tap into the mixer and just use a regular old cog, which I should have floating around here somewhere. Perfect. So we'll place the cog in. That should start pulling fluid and dumping it into here. The mixer is going to kick on, and we can just encase this with regular industrial casing, not plating, making sure this gets covered up just like so. So I've covered the entire tank here, and yes, I want this to also sort of look like the vat. All of this completed, I mean, we are basically ready to get this up and running. And now just need to route a pipe from the bottom. And this is why I wanted this set up off the ground, so that way I can actually have a pump that is pulling, for example, down. This is also in reference to how the immersive engineering tanks kind of function as well. I don't know, I thought it was a pretty clever way of setting this up, and I just need to link this in, and the way that I'm going to pipe and route things around is actually going to be connected up on top of the chain conveyors. So this is going to route in between the chain conveyors, and what we're going to do is we are going to make sure this is raised at least 1 block above, which is going to raise all the way through here, allowing us to power pumps from the top of the chain conveyors. So now I just have to route all of these pipes all the way around. So the major part of the pipeline is now in. I mean, a little bit of decoration could go a long way, where it looks like this is strapped down to the floor. And I'm also going to want some supports as we start to get these pumps in. Before we start pumping anything, we probably need to give it a place to pump to. And so I introduce to you the printer. And on top of every single one of these depots, we are going to place a printer. And they're all in, all 33 of them, because I think I did the counting right, and it does look like there are 33 individual packages. Well, rare packages, because technically there are 4 more, because I think we can also take regular packages and convert them into all 4 different regular package variants. But for that, I wasn't as concerned. But who knows, there may be more whenever we update the pack. I am currently working on a pack update as of right now, so we might actually get even more rare packages in the future. With the pipes in, I now have to to drag the pipes all the way down, and I want a pipe running down into each of these from up top. Now this entire area just looks absolutely ridiculous. Now is the moment of truth. I actually get to plug it all in with all of these connected together. So let's grab a regular shaft and plug that in, then place the cogwheel, and that should start pumping liquid into just about all of these. However, it is going to reach a limit, and I think on each one of these, even though it will go quite far, I do want to make sure that I have a pump on each of these chain conveyors up to this one down here. And that means on this particular pipe right here, we'll just plop in one of these. And then placed on top of this, a simple vertical gearbox should power the pump. And on the final pump in this line, I'm really hoping that this is going to be enough to make it all the way to this one. And that assumes that everything thus far, yes, is working. So now all of these are filled up with black dye. With the black dye in, it's now time for us to take all of our rare packages that we have and actually place them in the filter for organization. To try and make this easy on myself, what I'm going to do is have a backpack down here, and then over in the left, I have pinned all of the ones that I'm going to want. And so I'm going to start requesting them in that order, so that way they actually get placed in that order in the backpack. I think to start out, I'm going to work on all individual dye color packages just like this. And so we'll start with orange or red and then go to orange. And this should actually loop around and create a perfect circle here. Now, even though all of the packages are now inside of the filters, I'm still stuck with another problem. They don't render correctly inside of the actual item here. It'd be really nice if they actually pointed the correct direction, but unfortunately on every single one of them, they don't. Even in an item frame, they don't look right. But fear not, I do have an idea. I think what I could do is maybe place down like a depot, and then we can use industrial iron to make these look a little bit more industrial and a little bit different. And I think we can just click on the sides of these to convert them. Yes. Then once they're in, we can go ahead and place the package on here, and we can keep placing it until we get it into a decent rotation. It's kind of luck, but honestly, something like this where it's somewhat facing this direction. This would allow somebody to walk up and actually see what package it is before creating it. What I'll have to do is just sort of put some instructions on how to use this system, making sure it says to place on an empty depot. And I tell you, this really is kind of like roulette almost. Like you may get it right on the face, or you may get them completely turned backwards and you have to keep repeating the process over and over and over again. Just like this one. Yeah, perfect. This is really starting to turn out. Okay, so now imagine you come into the actual shop and you're like, oh, I forgot my packages are in here. Well, I want to provide packages so that way you can make as many packages as you want, and you don't have to worry about bringing your own unless you do have your own to bring. So what I want to do is make an automatic package generator. This should be quite simple. Essentially, we need a packager that needs to be facing into something like a smart chute, for example. And I would say specifically a smart chute, depending on how many items you actually want this to be pulling from. So we'll take our packager, connect it up to this, and then once we have an inventory on here, we want to make sure to limit this down to exactly 1 and only ever allow 1 into the chute. This means that anything that is in this inventory, it'll only pull 1 at a time out into this, meaning the packager will only ever have 1 item to package up. Then to pull the package out, well, we'll just use a funnel that'll send an individual package out onto this depot. Make this look super fancy, we'll also include one of these fancy levers. And then to supply this with something like cobblestone, well, we'll have a package right here, and then we'll just need to tap into our chain line right over here and place a frog onto this. I'm gonna call this one Packed Cobble. Then back at the mall, we'll just tap into our cobble source, which is this one right here, and then place the gauge on this. Just tell it we want regular old cobblestone in here, and then we need to select the destination, which is Packed Cobble, and then just simply set it to keep a stack in this barrel. And here comes our cobble, and once this happens, we'll see we now have ourselves a package. And this package just has a single cobblestone in it, allowing us to go over here, place it in, and duplicate a package. And yes, I know this is super novelty. This is like really, really novelty, because like, how is this helping anyone on the server? besides like giving more decoration items. And to that I would say, yeah, this really is just really for decoration. But I would also have to argue that everything we do in the create server is technically for decoration. Oh, bread miser.
Hello?
Huh? Where
are you
at?
outside? Are you doing some sneaky stuff?
Are you
Come
in the
for a second,
tubes?
Chosen.
What? Are you in the tube? I hear you coming from the tube.
No, I'm inside of you. Just.
Are you sure? The tube is green.
Yeah, no, there's a window over here. You can see me through the window. There's a little hole.
The tube is talking to me. This is very weird.
I'm a talking tube. Apparently.
That is odd.
Oh, I am the mighty tube whispering.
Okay, all right. Well, that's. I should probably take a nap. Huh? What? Oh, there you are.
You know? Yeah, there you are. Hello.
Hello. Oh my goodness, are you counting bread?
Yeah, that's I've done the math just moments ago. It's going to take roughly 2 weeks to count all the bread I currently have in storage.
Oh, that is nice. I may have come up with a solution.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a solution to storage. Just in general.
Okay.
Just in general. I took inspiration from everyone on the server. Everyone on the server.
Yeah.
Including you. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Interesting.
You got an A. Not an A+, but you got an A.
Just an A.
Well, I mean, yeah, because you still lose items in your system.
Yeah,
just not as many. Just not as many. Which is still good. Just not A+ worthy. I think the only person that got an A+ was Foxy.
Goes backpacks.
No, actually, he's using backpacks with other things, though, too. Which is
what was it? The grading is that you combine things? Is that what you're grading on?
I took inspiration from everyone's setup on the server and combined it into one solution.
I swear, Chosen, you haven't added custom blocks to solve your issue.
I did. Imagine you request items. You know, sometimes it takes a while for those items to get to you. Completely solved that problem. Oh,
wait a second.
That might also be mixed between me and, believe it or not, Stam.
Really?
Yeah, this design right here, which I'll show you what it does in a minute. This is Stam's idea from last season. Just done in a much different way, but still similar idea.
But wait. We don't have build craft pipes on Just Create, do we?
We do now.
Well, apparently we do.
We do now.
This is memory lane. Like,
yeah.
Wait, yeah. No, look. But how?
Exactly.
How the... Oh, you look at it. Oh, aha, connection pipe. Yeah, I remember these. This scratches a nerve that I didn't even know I had in my system.
Yeah, it is something interesting, definitely.
Okay, and there's a lot of kissy mouths around here.
Yeah, this is a very important part of the setup. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to run these all the way down to this side of the vault and put it in the very last vault. And I want you to request it.
So obituaries.
Right. Obituaries are now in.
Yes, 3 of them. Send request.
And then open the backpack.
Oh my god. Wait, that was literally like half a second.
Yep.
Maybe a second.
Yep, it takes the same time for any vault, no matter how far away it is. It is so good.
That's ridiculous. But,
Now with the basis of that shop up and running, I've got to get work on, well, the actual shop part of the build. So I've started the rough outline of what this is going to look like. We have some places where we can put some decoration and stuff, but I'll worry about decoration a little bit later because really what I need is some way to open these fences automatically whenever payment has been received. And then also I have a way of automatically allowing the players to get out of the actual area. Hard part is always going to be the redstone that controls these doors, allowing people to get into the actual area. Just because things are difficult doesn't mean that they're not doable. And this should be done quite easily with a counter gauge. Because in reality, if I want you to pay 16 diamonds, regardless of how many you put on here, I want it to start counting. And I want it to start counting towards that next set. And so we can utilize a special function of this counter gauge to do this. To get started, all we need is to drop our items down with this into another funnel, and then we're going to need a separate barrel, essentially, that is going to allow us to receive these items. So we'll place a barrel like so, and then also the funnel is going to go into this one. Now, this is to regulate the actual pulling out of the items out one at a time, and we're going to be able to use this to count. So all I need to do to count is just place a smart observer facing directly onto an andesite funnel, and whenever it receives an item, this is going to send a redstone pulse. That redstone pulse then needs to be captured by a redstone link, in which I'm then going to filter by using my tool and actually a rare package. And this is where this board over here is going to come into play, because to be able to get these counters to actually function, I need to have a receiving redstone link, and then we'll just simply paste that same setting onto here, and we link a counter gauge to that. The counter gauge by itself can, well, count receiving redstone signals, which is pretty cool. So for example, whenever the items go in, that will send a redstone pulse, and then this is going to keep counting up. But another cool thing that it has is a threshold, and this threshold does a few things. For one, it counts and then resets the number, but it also, when it reaches that number, it will send a redstone signal. And then after it goes over the next one, it will reset. But you can take that redstone signal that it gives out and you can connect it to another redstone link that isn't in receiving mode. And so this will actually send a redstone signal over here. To test this out, we just need to place some items in, and I know that any item more than diamonds will definitely go through this, but we can actually see that this is counting, and then it made it to 16, which is perfect. And it's sending a solid redstone signal at the 16 level currently. So if I place 16 more items in, we should expect it to also go back up to 16 and count again. And it should land on 16 every time. But notice, it didn't. And this is because of the reset start at 0 that this is causing. So if we take this whole thing, completely wipe and reset it, we're going to see that this issue, yes, this is kind of the issue with using this setup here. So I have it set to 15. We'll send our initial batch of 16 in. And then what I want to do is I want to set that reset and then try and send 16 items continuously through this thing. And that definitely seems to do the trick. The only problem with this is that, yes, you could get away and get the doors open by only putting 15 diamonds in, which would ultimately break the system. But I think I know another way to reset this. Let's say we set it to 16, and whenever it gives that initial secondary pulse, well, we use this redstone link to pulse this redstone link. So what should happen is whenever we do this, that should update this one, forcing that to reset back to 0, meaning that it should count exactly every single time now. So if I take the 16, place it in, this should loop back around. And as soon as it hits 16, that sends a pulse, which should have sent a redstone signal to that gauge. Aha, so there was a little bit of an issue. For example, this is being used because right now, if I turn this on, it's a solid signal. So someone is using a pickaxe in some sort of package in a system. But if I actually swap this out for something weird, like a mud brick, it actually doesn't send that signal anymore. So I'm thinking that this will function. We'll just have to see. I've been at this for a little while now trying to get this to work, and I will say it is definitely mind-numbing at this point. Does it wipe and reset? So no, it holds a solid signal. And I was kind of worried that it would do that, so what I'm going to need to do now is set up some sort of system to pulse it on a delay, I think. We should be able to do that here by using some sort of pulse repeater. We can set this to a 1 second delay. I think that's going to be more than enough. Put that in receive mode. Paste that in, that should give a solid signal. Quickly pulsing that, both are now pulsed off, and that should have reset the signal. So let's test it one more time. I'll place this in. This is doing the counting, and when it gets to 16, it resets. Ah, perfect. Now we can use something like a Nixie tube to display certain values, and we can use a display link to link to that, and then we can output that value here. So I'll place the display link after linking to the Nixie tube. Let's see, we should be able to place that here. Or actually, it needs to be, I think, placed on this wall, if I remember correctly. Yeah, it needs to be kind of linkable. And then we'll just add the new connection here. And then on this, we'll just say single line, full number. Full number is exactly what we want. And as of right now, it should be 0. Maybe we just actually do need it to be shortened. Aha, perfect. So now we should be able to see the updated count. Whenever we place it on there, it starts to add up until it reaches 16. And once that happens, it should let us through and send that redstone signal. You know what? I kind of want to use this whole board over here for managing all of the redstone. So I could actually put this display board for this up here, and then we can use some redstone down here to control the gate opening. And I think the best way to do this is by utilizing a pulse repeater to accept the initial pulse, which is actually going to come from this source right here. So I'm going to copy this and then paste that, set that to receive mode. It's going to power this block, which will power the pulse repeater, giving us a initial pulse, which will then be extended by the pulse extender for the duration that we want to keep the gate open. And so let's try setting it to a minute, for example. Then we're going to need another redstone link, which we can place on the wall, and this one is going to power the actual gate. So just directly below this, we'll also place another redstone link. However, this one is going to be in receive mode. Now, after all of that wild logic, let's go ahead and test this out. So this will go all the way up, and as soon as it reaches 16, before it does the reset, it opens the gate, and it's going to hold it open for the full minute. I think that is perfect, allowing you to step in, and then as soon as you're in here, you can do all the things you want. And then as soon as you're ready to leave, I'll make sure to have a sign here that says exit, and we can now exit. And then once you've exit, you shouldn't be able to get back in. I mean, we're kind of going off of a code of ethics, you know, yeah, you understand. So yes, of course, somebody could definitely walk up and open the gate and walk in if they really wanted to. This isn't like Fort Knox or anything like that. And looky there, the gate just closed. Now, to make sure that this functions fully, we want to make sure that this is a brass funnel. We also want to make sure that it is filtered, set to the correct direction. That way it'll only allow diamonds to be pulled out, and we'll set this to exactly 1. And so the system is up and running. So we have some instructions here, 16 diamonds, all you can make, and that will count whenever they place it onto the depot. And then I have some instructions here, take any package, place into the depot under the printers, and this will convert any package into the version in the depot below. And so also I have a donations box in case anybody wants to donate. So the door should automatically open whenever the diamonds get placed in, but I'm assuming they're going to probably place them in here and then open the fence gate, which is kind of funny if anybody does do that. And then also here, forgot packages, take some. And that way you can take your package, go over here to any of these, place them in, and you'll see that that will get converted. Hopefully they bring their own and they have special packages, and they use this as a means of potentially like giving gifts to people. And I technically done a little bit of decorating, but there's still more decorating that needs to be done. I think a fun little thing that I can do for decoration is to have a chain conveyor that is in here that basically has these placed on it, because yes, you can also decorate them by having them dangling from the chains. And I managed to get this nice and spinning, super slow with just a single water wheel up top. And then I have my packagers, which allow them to actually stay on the chains, which is pulling one off here and then just simply placing it on the other chain across from there. I also want to show off how you can use like armor stands and also utilize these packages with armor stands in this area. So I'm thinking we can find us a big package, maybe the blaze one, for example. And what I can do is place this in the hand of an armor stand. And since we have armor poser, we should be able to align this in such a way. I'm thinking maybe placing it over here might be the way to do it. So if I show the arms, I can place it in its hand like this. And then it's just a matter of simply adjusting some of these settings. So you can click in and actually start rotating things by using your scroll wheel. I've started adjusting its position here. Now we do have to disable gravity on this to be able to change its vertical position. But what I really want to do is start to adjust the scale. This is going to make the package super big, and I want it to fit in this area. And I've sort of gotten the package to where it's going to set flush, and then I get to start kind of tweaking these until we get the armor stand in just the position that the package is resting on the ground. And this, I think, is where the decoration for the packages are going to shine the most if anybody takes the time to technically do this. When all is said and done, you have something like this where we have this really big package. I can still pop into here. I can change the scale, I think, even more. let's actually make this quite a bit bigger here. And by doing this, we are going to have to adjust the Y value. Once the big package is basically where I want it, all I have to do is make the armor stand invisible. And now I just have a really big package over here. Welcome.
Hi, how's it going?
Yeah,
this is
going
complicated
well.
stuff. That's a big box up there.
There's a lot of, yeah, there's some big boxes. Yeah, feel free whenever you want to go shopping to technically, I mean, buy from the shop.
Is this the shop right here? This is just a package.
That's,
Wait, how do I put this down?
You just right click.
I shift right clicked it.
No, you're fine. There's more packages over there, but yes, unfortunately this is like heavily guarded, and there's only one way to get through it.
There's no way you could ever get over that.
Yeah, no.
Unfortunate.
Yeah. Invisible force field.
Well, so I need you to follow me.
Okay. I'm scared.
And then we're gonna go this way. Don't look up when you get there. Just
convenient.
Just look down.
Okay, look
this
down.
Beautiful pathway. Okay, now look up a little bit.
Oh man. Oh my goodness.
Okay, so come on up.
That is, I'm surprised it actually activates. This is a valid.
It took a second.
You know,
It took a second for the beacon.
I don't know if anybody has
like,
ever tested if netherite blocks are actually a source. Wait, why is this? Oh, you didn't just do one beacon. You did a quad beacon. You did a quad beacon.
Yeah, I decided,
wild.
you know, if you're going for it, you might as well just go for it.
I mean,
right?
that is the pinnacle. That is basically all effects you could ever want, because
yeah.
Yeah.
The problem is I only have one beacon, so we're just gonna do that. I do have another 40 netherite blocks on top of this, though.
Oh my goodness. Well, I'll eventually need netherite. I just haven't gotten around to doing that yet.
Yeah, you get distracted. You know, I get distracted by random projects too. I have 4 5-chunk wide tunnel bores, so I was mining out 20 chunks at a time. It did take 16 hours, and I mined 35 million blocks.
That is why you were on so long the other day.
Yeah, that's why.
Like,
there's a picture in the pictures channel.
Oh, I'm scared.
There is no more nether. Don't go to the nether.
Oh, good. I mean, I wasn't planning on ever going there anyways.
Yeah, I mean, same. No one else will ever go there again.
Did you accidentally run into Foxy's base?
We don't talk about that.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, good thing I visited before you probably did that.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah, that's good.
What base?
That's good. All right. Well, enjoy your beacon. I don't know what you're going to do with it.
I'm gonna look at it and then I'm gonna log off.
Fair.
Yeah.
That's
sleep.
That's, yeah. You probably should.
Yep.
Definitely.
You too.
Well, good luck moving that thing, because I don't know if you can pick those up with cart contraptions. Anyways, you have a good one.
Bye.
My Silent.
I didn't check that.
So Silent stopped by for a quick little visit, and you may have noticed the sign that I literally had just finished making that now says Rare Shop, and has a little package on it with the rare package just completely ripped right off the internet. That definitely didn't steal that image at all, but yes, that is the default icon for it. And then we have it called Rare Shop. So I went ahead and added all of the big mega packages. I've got some kind of lingered about. There's even a giant one up here. I love these things so much. All of this to sell access to packages. I even added the names onto here. So it says workshop storage. And then down on the very bottom, it even says it on the signs. That I kind of think seals the deal for the whole thing, explaining what each of the floors do. And I also covered in all of the windows. I added in some rails to hopefully prevent creepers from randomly walking in here. And overall, the entrance area, I think, looks pretty good. And yes, this is another elytra hole, so that way if somebody wanted to come in here quick, they don't have to go through the elevator system. They can just fly right on in. Or I could fly right on in. It's probably going to be used more by me. Also, on top of that, I added another counter gauge leading into a display link, which is going to keep track of just all diamonds overall that have been generated in this shop. Another way for me to keep track of total sales. With all of this accomplished, I think this was a successful shop opening day. Between the epic looking mixer over here taking inspiration from Kev leading into the tank, to all of these packages that I had to originally farm up in order to get in the first place, now to be able to provide to everyone here on the server. I think there's a lot of use cases for these. I mean, you can use them as custom wall textures by lining up all of these things in just the right way. There's so many different ways that you could set things up to make these work, and I hope this was kind of worth it in the long run setting this all up. Now, I would love to hear from all of you guys down in the comments section below. Let me know, did you enjoy this project? Have you enjoyed the journey that we went through to get to this point? I would love to hear from you, like I said, down in the comments below. And if you're looking forward to future episodes just like this one, be sure to click that subscribe button if you haven't already, and give this video, guys, a huge thumbs up. And now, without further ado, it's time for me to say a huge thanks to the amazing supporter that made today's episode possible. And that amazing thanks is going to go out to Giant Dwarf. Thank you so much for your amazing support in choosing to support me over in the Discord by becoming a Discord premium member and supporting my content in one of the best ways possible, making videos like these possible. And guys, I look forward to seeing you all in the next episode. And as always, thanks for watching.